Welcome into Steelers Talk. I'm your host, Jack Sperry. Today we got a bunch of great Steelers news and rumors topics to discuss. First up, a friend of TJ Watt says that he is worried about the contract situation between the former Defensive Player of the Year and the Steelers organization. We'll kick our show off with that. Then we'll get into a CBS article which links a big-name tight end to the Pittsburgh Steelers in trade rumors. And then we'll get into a PFF article here that names a top breakout candidate for the Pittsburgh Steelers this year that fans should be excited about. And then we'll get into the two sides of the Aaron Rodgers debate and what those two sides are and what side I land on here as we approach the Aaron Rodgers saga here in Pittsburgh. But before we get into the content today, I don't think the con artist is done, guys. I think Omar Khan is still going to be making some moves here before we get to Latrobe at Steelers training camp at the end of July. I think they're going to sign another receiver. I think they are either going to trade or sign another cornerback here, and who knows, they might even add a tight end as well after Donald Parham tore his Achilles. So I still think the Steelers have some moves left in them here this offseason, so make sure you guys click that subscribe button for our breaking news coverage. Whenever they get the TJ Watt deal done, if they sign more players before free agency, we're going to have a breaking news video for you guys for free on this channel every single time, which is why we are currently the largest Steelers news channel that is individually run anywhere on YouTube. So click that subscribe button, join the over 80,000 Yinzers that have already clicked that subscribe button. And with that, let's get into our first story today, where Steelers superfan and Barstool Sports personality Jersey Jerry says that TJ Watt, who he is close with by the way, has gone silent on him recently, and it's causing a little bit of panic on Steelers Twitter today, so I wanted to address it. Jersey Jerry, big fan of his, he says this, because can I be honest here? I'm really starting to get worried about TJ. We DM often, I'd say 2 times a week, short convos. He posts food, I respond bully food. I post new posts, I got them hex clad. He responds bully pants. Small stuff like that. TJ always responds. Now TJ went dark. Something is wrong. He has to be a Steeler for life. I can't take it much longer. Now, before you completely dismiss Jersey Jerry here, he is close with TJ. He's golfed with him in the past. TJ's been on his show. Obviously, Jersey Jerry is a huge Steelers fan, one of the most passionate fans out there, and he has a huge following, right? So the fact that he's going out there and saying that he's worried that TJ's going dark on him right now, it's not necessarily nothing, but my take on the entire situation, guys, is I'm still not worried. If you've been watching this channel for a while, you guys know that I'm not too worried about this contract situation. The Steelers know that they need to sign TJ Watt in order to stay kind of competitive this year. Without TJ Watt, this defense kind of crumbles, and I think the Steelers understand that. They just don't want to have to pay him the money that he's asking for currently, which is probably to be the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history, and TJ knows he has the leverage here, so he's pretty much saying, pay me what I want or I'm not playing for you. And, with the Steelers not wanting to have to pay that, they're going to wait as long as it takes to be able to not pay that until they absolutely have to, which is probably around training camp, potentially even into training camp. But listen, guys, TJ wants to be here. The Steelers want him to be here. And usually when both sides want to get a deal done, eventually a deal gets done. This happened both last year with Cam Hayward and with Pat Freiermuth, who neither had a deal going into training camp, and then boom, you get the deal done. And once you get closer to the season, deadlines make deals, guys. The ultimate deadline is week 1 of the NFL season. I still feel very confident that the Pittsburgh Steelers and TJ Watt are going to come to an agreement here. It seems like the team is not sweating it either. Mike Tomlin saying that he feels comfortable with where they are at in that particular saga at this point. So yes, I do think TJ Watt will be back with the Pittsburgh Steelers this year because he has to be. And my expectation is he's going to get at least what Myles Garrett got with the Cleveland Browns this year, $40 million per season. And I think that, based on what TJ's done in terms of the turnover production that he's had, the sack production, the difference in wins and win percentage and defensive stats when he's on the field versus when he's not on the field, his value is absolutely cut and dry. And if the Steelers didn't want to have to pay him $40 million per season, they should have paid him before the Browns paid Myles Garrett. Plain and simply, the Steelers are paying the price for waiting too long, but at the end of the day, you still have TJ Watt on your football team. So let me know down there in the comments section. situation. What is your concern level for the TJ Watt situation right now? From a scale of 1, meaning I'm not worried about it at all, to 10 being at 5 alarm fire. We got it to, oh my goodness, this is the biggest situation ever. Let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section for today's pinned question. In just a second here, YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a few seconds. And when that happens, put your concern level with the TJ Watt situation from a 1 to a 10. So now let's shift over to CBS Sports' Cody Benjamin here, who suggests that the Pittsburgh Steelers should consider trading for Bears tight end Cole Kmet after recent reports here connected the Pittsburgh Steelers to both Jonnu Smith and Kyle Pitts, 2 other tight ends. This is what Cody Benjamin had to say. The Bears all but proclaimed a new face of their tight end position by spending a first-round pick on Colston Loveland this year. And while Kmet still has the benefit of legitimate NFL experience, it's very possible new coach Ben Johnson will lean all the way into Loveland out of the gate. In that case, perhaps the Steelers would be interested in pairing Kmet with Pat Freiermuth, especially if the price is lower than, say, acquiring Kyle Pitts from the Atlanta Falcons. Now, personally, guys, I'm not too interested in Cole Kmet. And honestly, I don't think the Bears are interested in trading him. I think that Ben Johnson wants to use a lot of 12 personnel, which means 2 tight ends on the field at one time. And I think he wants to use Loveland along with Cole Kmet, not use Loveland to get rid of Cole Kmet, all right? And Kmet, I think, is a good, really, really good number 2 tight end, but he's definitely not a number 1. I don't think he's the type of guy that the Pittsburgh Steelers would be particularly interested in because he's very similar to Pat Freiermuth, where they're both kind of possession type of receiving tight ends. Now, Kmet can block a little bit, but so can Muth. He's not a terrible blocker, even though both of them are known more as kind of possession style, good hands type of tight ends, kind of safety blanket types. And the Steelers already have one of those guys. So if they're going to go out and get a tight end, I'd rather it be somebody like Jonnu Smith, who might be a little bit more expensive to acquire, but at least he gives the tight end room a different flavor. Smith is an awesome yak threat, and then Muth can be your possession type guy. But if you bring in Kmet, you're kind of putting 2 of the same types of tight ends in the same room. And personally, when it comes to adding an offensive weapon, I would rather GM Omar Khan add a wide receiver. There's still plenty of good options out there. Amari Cooper and Keenan Allen are kind of the 2 free agent options out there. Keenan Allen did say recently that he doesn't love the idea of playing in Pittsburgh, the city, but he did say that Aaron Rodgers being the quarterback intrigues him a bit. Amari Cooper, he's got some links with Aaron Rodgers as well, but then if you want to trade for somebody, Romeo Doubs and Dontavian Wicks of the Green Bay Packers are 2 players to consider there, and then Trey Palmer is another player that the Steelers have reportedly called on that I think would be a pretty decent fit. So coming up next here on Steelers Talk, Pro Football Focus has named a Steeler to their all-breakout team heading into the 2025 season. I'll let you guys know which Steelers player that is here in just one moment. But first, make sure you go check out our friends at Fanatics, where you guys can get a brand new number 8 Aaron Rodgers jersey in your collection today when you go to chatsports.com/AR8. Personally, I'm really excited about this year. Even, it's very possible that Aaron Rodgers doesn't play well with the Pittsburgh Steelers this year, guys, and it's yet another year where they're investing in an older veteran that doesn't work out. But I also think there's a chance where lightning could strike. They could find lightning in a bottle here, just like the Vikings did with Brett Favre, just like the Buccaneers did with Tom Brady. I still think Aaron Rodgers can sling it, and I think that he's a great fit for what the Pittsburgh Steelers want out of the quarterback position. If you want his jersey today, you can use our link, chatsports.com/AR8. That link is in the comments and description of today's show. You click that link and you make a purchase. Fanatics sends us part of the proceeds. So it helps out the channel, helps you out by getting an Aaron Rodgers Steelers jersey in your closet today, so everybody wins. All right, now let's get into the all-breakout team that Pro Football Focus just released, and they put Troy Fautanu, the starting right tackle for the Pittsburgh Steelers, as a top offensive tackle breakout candidate this year. It was written by Bradley Locker from Pro Football Focus, who had this to say about the second-year Steeler. Even in that extremely limited sample size in 2024, Fautanu amassed a 69.3 PFF pass blocking grade, allowing only 2 pressures on the road against the Broncos, one of the NFL's best defenses and pass rushes a season ago. Fautanu seemed to extend his terrific play from his final college season, in which he posted an 88.2 PFF pass blocking grade with a 97.9 pass blocking efficiency. Now, when it comes to Fautanu, guys, you guys know my feelings on him. I love the draft pick when they made it. I think he played very well against the Denver Broncos in his one game he did play last year. The only question with Troy, in my opinion, is his health. Can he stay healthy? Where that's been an issue for him, and there was apparently multiple teams that kind of flagged him for that knee issue that ended up ending his rookie campaign. So, like, is he going to be the type of guy here that can stay healthy, or is he going to be the type of guy that's always hurt and he's a good player, but he just can never stay on the field? Well, I think we're going to get an answer to that question this year, and if he's on the field, great. The Steelers have their starting right tackle for the next decade if he stays healthy. But that is certainly a big question point at this point. But before I go here, I do want to give a little bit of a Rodgers kind of little piece to this video as well, because there's been a lot of different opinions that have been put out there about Rodgers heading to Pittsburgh. Some people think it's going to work out great and it's going to put him in Super Bowl contention, and then there's other people that are more pessimistic about it. But there are definitely two sides of this debate that are crystallizing at this point. It's kind of being represented at ESPN right now. We'll start with the positive side here. The first side is kind of the optimistic side, and this has been taken by Peter Schrager. He's a new employee there at ESPN, formerly with NFL Network, a former host of Good Morning Football, and he's very optimistic about Aaron Rodgers going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is what he had to say about the situation. They didn't make these moves just to get to where they were over the last few years, which is a nice Saturday or Sunday afternoon wildcard game and then get bounced out of the playoffs. They could have very easily done a half measure here. They could have signed another quarterback, or they could have gotten panicked when Rodgers wasn't there in April and in May. Instead, they waited all this way, and they did trade a second-round pick and paid DK Metcalf $30 million per season. These are not the moves of a team that's rebuilding. That's the moves of a team that sees things happening this year with a Super Bowl window. Schrager also went on ESPN's First Take earlier that day and proclaimed the Steelers as Super Bowl contenders. So Schrager definitely intrigued by the Steelers this year. And personally, I'm on this side of the debate. If you've been watching the channel for a while now, you guys know that I still think Aaron Rodgers can play, and I think that he's going to be a perfect fit with the Pittsburgh Steelers this year, and I think it will lead to success for the black and gold this year. We actually just put out an extensive video where I break down all the reasons why I think Aaron Rodgers will be a success here in Pittsburgh. I won't go into all those reasons on this video, but if you guys want to check out the extensive video that we put out this weekend, I'll put the link to that one in the comments and description of today's show, and put the chip in the top right if you want to check that out. But the other side of this argument is kind of the pessimistic, cynical type of argument here. And by the way, I think that this is a more than valid argument that people make, that Aaron Rodgers wasn't good with the Jets. He hasn't been good since 2021. He's only older now since he was in those seasons that didn't work out with other teams. I think that this particular POV is taken on nicely by ESPN's Dan Graziano, who's a big-time Rodgers hater. He said this: Rodgers didn't make the Jets instant contenders. He's 41, going to be 42 by the end of the year, and this is not a team that was like a plug-in, a quarterback, and now you're a contender type of team. They have question marks on the offensive line. They have one receiver who averaged 73 catches a year in his NFL career. They have a defense that's average age is like 28, 29, probably one of the older defenses in the league. I think Pittsburgh could be in for a rough one. Now, to Dan's credit here, he could absolutely be right. And people that have been watching this channel know I've been saying and I've been acknowledging, all right, even if the Steelers do sign Aaron Rodgers, there's a chance that this doesn't work out. There's a chance that this is a lot like Russell Wilson, where you're getting a quarterback that's past his prime. He's not good enough to elevate this team to legitimate Super Bowl contending type of level. But he could just as easily be wrong. All of the concerns that he brings up, the wide receiver room, they could be adding Amari Cooper, or potentially Calvin Austin, Roman Wilson could step up. The offensive line, the Steelers have a ton of early round draft talent on their offensive line. Broderick Jones could take a big step this year. Troy Fautanu can stay healthy. Mason McCormick could take a big step. How about the defense? Sure, it's older, but it's also really freaking good. They were the number one defense in football last year before TJ Watt got hurt. So I tend to agree more with Peter Schrager, and I take the optimistic approach here. It's not to say that the pessimistic view is necessarily wrong. I think that we'll find the answers to these questions here once we start playing football games. in a few short months here. But I'm very optimistic about this entire kind of saga that's going to be unfolding here in Pittsburgh over the next year. What do you guys think? Do you think that this will work out? Are you optimistic or pessimistic about the Aaron Rodgers experiment here in Pittsburgh? Type O if you're an optimist, or type P if you are a pessimist. Let me know you guys' thoughts on Rodgers down there in the comments section. And that'll be it for today's edition of Steelers News and Rumors, brought to you by Chat Sports. Make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already for daily Steelers updates every single day right here on YouTube.